Never mind.
All set? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Tony Ratasky and Rebecca, roll call. I assume you have it noted, and you also wanted to welcome Eric to the board as well.
Yes, I do want to welcome Eric Kaharchek. He's joining us for the first time today. He was appointed by the City Commission to our DDA board at their November 30th meeting. Took his oath of office yesterday and so is ready to go. Eric comes to us from Range Bank. And Eric, I just want to officially welcome you to the DDA board. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And as far as roll call, I do have in attendance Tony, Jeremy, Nicole, Mike, Jim, and Eric. As of right now, we have not heard from Jack or Megan.
Okay, well, we'll move into our agenda and then we'll see if they join us. That's okay. Next is additions. Any additions to the agenda?
No, not from me.
A motion to approve the agenda would be in order then.
Move to approve. Support.
So there's a motion and support. Did you get the names on that? Nicole?
Jeremy and Mike.
Got it. Motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor by aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move into public comment. Sean, any public?
No public comment.
Thank you. Consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the 11/12 of 2020 meeting, bills for approval, financial report as of 11/30 of 2020. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve. Support.
Moved and supported. Typically no discussion on a consent agenda, so I'll ask that we move right into the voting. So all in favor by aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public information meeting packet. Oh, Jack's joining us.
And Megan is on her way as well.
Okay.
Good morning to both of you.
Morning. I'm good, Cole. Thanks.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, how do I get this off here? Okay. So I'm going to present to you today our annual report for 2020. This presentation will serve to fulfill one of our two requirements for a public informational session. We are required by Public Act 57 to host 2 informational meetings per year. We did one back in August in conjunction with our downtown plan stakeholder sessions, and this will be the second one. It does fall as a good time. Being the end of the year, it provides us an opportunity to look back at our 2020, to look ahead to 2021, and also to serve as an informative introduction to our new board members to bring them up to speed on the workings of the DDA. So with that, we will get started. Okay, our mission. The Marquette DDA is a public authority established in 1976 by the City of Marquette in accordance with Michigan Public Act 197, which has since been recodified with Public Act 57 of 2028. And our mission is to prevent deterioration in business districts, encourage historic preservation, increase property tax valuation, and to promote economic growth. And to that end, our fundamental goals include increasing property values, creating and maintaining a favorable business and investment environment, ensuring the sustainability of the district, and supporting downtown property owners, businesses, professionals, and residents alike. This is a map of our district. You'll see kind of the gray shaded area in the background, designated boundaries of the DDA district, which run generally from Barriga Avenue north to Ridge Street, from the Lakeshore west to 7th Street. And then on the right, you'll see it extends all the way up 3rd Street to Fair Avenue. A bit of background. The DDA was established in 1976. We have since gone through 3 TIF development plans. First one in 1984, second one 1992 through 2013, and the third one, which was renewed in 2011, extends to 2036. We've also gone through 2 district expansions, one in 1992 and the most recent in 2011, and that was with the addition of North 3rd Street. Some interesting current statistics. The information on the left actually came from our new downtown plan, and some of the demographic information they provided there. We have at this point total businesses of 298, employees of 2,682, and that's district-wide, and 358 residents. So very useful information there. As far as the number of parcels in the district, the core downtown has 259, 61 on 3rd Street for a total of 320. Our board of directors, because this slide is no new information to you who are on the call with us, but our DDA board has 9 members, of which 8 are appointed by the city commission and serve 4-year terms. And we also have our esteemed city manager who serves by virtue of legislation. And I do have listed there all of our current board members, including Erica Harchek, who's with us today. We do have, I should note, 1 vacancy at this time, and that vacancy is for a DDA resident. By virtue of PA 57, we are required to have a DDA resident serve on our board. So at this time, we're looking for somebody. If anybody is interested, please do contact me. Our DDA staff consists of myself as executive director. We have Tara Loss McKinney as our full-time events and promotions coordinator. Sarah Trumbley is our operations administrator. She handles all of our accounts payable, accounts receivable, also manages our parking system. Sarah Johnson is our farmers market manager. Caitlin Sellers, our office assistant, and Jay Brady is our maintenance coordinator. So he heads up our maintenance staff and oversees our staff of Joe Quinnell, Ken Crusher, John Buttinger, Kevin Prey, Larry Samaro, and Randy St. Charles. So that is our team. Moving on to our funding sources, we have 2 primary sources of funding that come from taxes. One is our tax increment financing. The second is our 2 mil property tax levy. We also have parking rental and meter revenues, and then other revenues that consist of promotions and sponsorships, farmers market fees, market commons rentals, our grant flow-through funds, and other miscellaneous revenues. And this slide shows just a brief flow-through chart as an example of tax increment financing. That is a local economic development financing tool used to encourage private investment. What it does is it authorizes the capture of property taxes to be used for development purposes. On the left, it starts off with those improvements that our property owners and developers make into their properties. When they make those improvements, that growth increases the property values, which then increases taxes, which leads to an increase in tax revenue. And those increases in tax revenues are what we call the tax increment. And then the TIF captures the tax revenue on that incremented amount. I should note that TIF funds can only be used in accordance with the adopted TIF and downtown development plan, and only within the designated TIF district. This chart shows assessed property values from the base year of 1992, which at that point, the initial base value was 10,000, roughly a little bit more than that. That's designated by that kind of salmon colored line you see across the chart, the 2020 assessed value is, 10 million. Assessed value is approximately 43 million. The difference between that being the captured value of 33 million. And as you can see, the definite positive part of this chart is the upward trend with a little bit of a dip in 2012, but generally speaking, those property values have gone up consistently since 1992. This slide, I do apologize, it's a little bit difficult to read, but this is just a brief look at our financial report for for fiscal year 20. I don't know if there would be any questions on it, but just to give you a brief rundown, our total revenues are about 1.536 million, total expenditures 1.39. We do have our bond outstanding. We still owe 700, excuse me, 750,000 on that. We're making payments on that annually and will continue to do so through 2026. Here's a look at our revenues for the 2020 fiscal year. Again, most of our revenues come from TIF funding. You'll also see there the orange pie piece is our taxes. That would be the 2 mil taxes. The yellow piece, the grant flow through funds, those are consisting of our Facade grant funds as well as our Match on Main grant funds that we received this year and redistributed to businesses downtown. And then parking revenues being the other major piece, with those remaining smaller pieces being the farmers market flow through, the flow through funds for the farmers market, promotions and sponsorships, and then miscellaneous revenues. And here's a look at our expenditures. Personnel being wages and benefits accounts for the biggest piece of the pie. Maintenance and operating expenditures, also the orange piece. The blue piece, professional and contractual, that consists of things like our snow removal, our downtown plan, the work by our consultants, the elevator maintenance, the contract we have with IPS for our meter management fees, things like that. And then again, the grant flow through funds, that represents those reimbursements that were made to the property owners who participated in that program. Here's a look at our parking fund analysis. There's a little bit of bad news on this slide, unfortunately, but just to give you an overview, if you look at the difference in revenues between 2019 and 2020, which I tried to make a little bit clearer in a chart down at the bottom, you'll see that our parking rental permits are down 50% from last year. That is due largely to a couple of things. One, when we were shut down for COVID-19 back in the spring, we did not charge for parking permits for that quarter. The other thing is now, still in the midst of COVID-19, we're finding that a lot of people are still working from home. And so we've seen a decrease in the number of permits that we currently have active, which of course then is reflected in our revenues as a decrease. So we do look for that to increase again as we eventually enter into the recovery stage and look to get back to normal operations with parking. Parking meters, also you'll see a decrease of 27%. Again, for the same reason, we shut the meters down during that shutdown period in the spring, and now we haven't seen the comeback yet, but again, staying hopeful for the future. So overall, our total parking revenues are down 37% from where they were a year ago. Okay, so now I'd like to move into the next part of the presentation. 2020, a year in review. I don't think it's any surprise that 2020 has been a very challenging year, not only for being my first year as executive director, but also really the pandemic has impacted every element of our organization, from events, the farmers market, parking, maintenance. I mean, everything has been impacted in one way or another. Through it all, we have been able to adapt accordingly to make the necessary modifications. And I believe that we've accomplished great things in the process. I'm very proud of our staff who have really stepped up to the plate to help address those challenges, and also very proud of the fact that we've been able to keep them all fully employed throughout the course of the pandemic. So 2020 has seen our priorities shift. Really what we've been focusing on is assisting our downtown businesses, providing that support through the pandemic. And we will continue to focus on that for as long as necessary. But I would like to provide a bit of information as far as what our efforts have entailed throughout the course of the pandemic. And of course, these are ongoing efforts, so we continue to do these things on a regular basis. Most important is communication. We have been very diligent about our email communications and other forms of communication, phone calls, emails. We're just really reaching out to all of our businesses to help them through these times. We provide financial assistance information, keeping up with the ever-changing executive orders, the Marquette County Health Department guidelines, OSHA guidance. We work with other organizations to provide webinar and educational opportunities. Really just a wealth of information there that we share with our businesses. Also, we have partnered with the City of Marquette to waive sidewalk, cafe, outdoor merchandise display, and outdoor dining and beverage service fees and procedures to address capacity limitations. As I mentioned earlier, we also secured $50,000 in Match on Main COVID-19 Response Program grant funds, which we redistributed to 15 businesses downtown. We've conducted a series of surveys with our businesses to help us understand their concerns and their needs, and also to monitor the economic impact of COVID-19 on them and on downtown Marquette overall. We've done 3 of those surveys, one in the spring, one in the summer, and then one most recently, the end of October, early November. We've shared those findings with not only the business community, but with you as the DDA board and also with the City Commission. I think you'll find that the results of the survey tend to follow that roller coaster that we've all been on, where the spring surveys were very dismal, very concerning, not a very positive outlook. Things tended to improve over the summer with the tourism and increase in revenues resulting from that. And then of course now this late fall survey again is reflecting a lot of concern amongst the businesses for their well-being, especially as we come into the winter season, which is traditionally a much slower time of year for them. Their greatest fears, unfortunately, are being realized in that they were hoping to not be shut down again. And of course, these extended restrictions that we're facing right now are bringing that to fruition. So a lot of our businesses are struggling, and we will continue to monitor that and help in any way we can. Another thing, as I mentioned earlier, we did suspend our paid parking and enforcement during the shutdown. We continue to provide complimentary reserved on-street parking to support curbside pickup. Our restaurants right now are shut down to indoor dining, and so this is an attempt to assist them as they do takeout. We created Digital Downtown Marquette, and what that is a virtual directory of current operational status of our businesses downtown. And so as things change, we continue to monitor that, to update it so that we have that helpful resource for those in the community who are looking to support our businesses, identifying how they're open and in what capacity. We did implement a Brighter Days Ahead campaign earlier, I would say it must have been about June or so. And that was a dual part promotional campaign where we did have some billboards up and also asked businesses to take pictures of their staff in front of their business, holding up signs, really just promoting a feeling of community. And we're all in this together. These businesses are owned by your friends, your neighbors. Let's support them and collectively look forward to brighter days ahead. We provided COVID-19 signage to all of our businesses downtown to convey a unified message of the mask wearing expectations, as well as the social distancing and hand washing. You'll see down the left side of this slide, we have some examples of those signs being implemented. I was doing some Christmas shopping the other day and was very pleased to see most of the businesses that I was in using these signs. Again, all branded with our Downtown Marquette logo to show that consistency. We procured face masks for downtown Marquette businesses through Masks for Marquette and also through Community Action Elger Marquette. The latter of which we had our Downtown Marquette logo put on by Loyalties Downtown. So shout out to them for helping us out with that. And then we did distribute them to businesses downtown as well. We partnered with the partnership, NMU and Single Track Health to provide informational meetings for downtown businesses and helpful webinars. You'll see on the right, the Single Track Health webinar was on preventing the spread of infection in our downtown businesses, put on by Dr. DeLynn. We collaborated with TV6 and Invent at NMU to offer digital workshops for downtown businesses, creating an online presence. We did find from our surveys that approximately half of the businesses did not have an online presence. And so to fill that need, TV6 and Invent at NMU did offer up their services to help those businesses create websites and enhance their social media presence. We also partnered with the partnership LSCP to promote Love on Local gift card program. And this slide is showing our businesses who have closed and opened in 2020. Down the left side, you'll see we had 9 businesses close. Some of them are not permanent, or hopefully not permanent, but are closed indefinitely. Being Iron Bay and Steinhaus, we do hope to see them reopen. Some of the others have either closed, like Border Grill closed their 3rd Street location, as did Jimmy John's. I have heard that they are possibly just relocating to a different building on 3rd Street, and I hope that is the case. Marquette Monthly, Superior Sewing Studio, Panara Imports, and Washington Shoe Store. So we are very sad to see those businesses go. However, there is a silver lining in that if you look on the right, we've also had 10 businesses open in 2020. So those are the hardy folks who have taken that leap and started a business in the midst of a pandemic. We have Towners just recently opened last week on South Front Street. So we're excited to have them as well as all of these businesses. We've had 2, if you look down at the bottom, who have relocated. Hot Plate Pottery and Art Studio is still downtown, but they moved from the corner of Washington and 3rd Street to inside the Masonic building. And Synergy Fitness on North 3rd, as you start to head up the hill, they have moved to the Peninsula Medical Center. So, I mean, I do see some positivity here in that we've been able to kind of maintain our number of businesses, although, again, some have closed and others have opened, but I do see that as a positive in looking at the situation overall. We do have other great things happening downtown. One of which I'm very personally proud of is our Downtown Facade Improvement Grant Program. This has been going on for about 2 years. This program will end in September of 2021. As you may recall, we received $300,000 in funding from the MEDC back in 2018, early 2019, that we then used to award 10 projects, 10 grant projects that have been completed, and the list is there. We have Be Well on 3rd Street, Breakers Roadhouse, Great Northern Title and Abstract, The Preserve, Superior Hearing Aid Center, Symbios, Tie House, 3rd Base Bar, 3rd Street Bagel, and Viridia Group on the corner of 3rd and Washington. Those projects have all been successfully completed and are really amazing transformations. We have 2 projects left to be completed in 2021, Black Rocks Brewery and also the Quinnell Law Office. The Quinnell project will start as soon as they're able in the spring. All said and done, so far we've leveraged over $1 million as a result of this program. And I think, again, I just think that's amazing, especially considering the times that we're in, and would like to acknowledge the MEDC again for their ongoing support and partnership through this program. This was part of their Facade Restoration Initiative, which was a pilot program for which we were one of 3 communities selected. So very, very proud of that ongoing initiative. Events and promotions. So this year has been very unusual for us in that we typically host 8 community events annually and support 8 others. That's looked different. Our social calendar has been a little emptier because we have had to cancel some of our 2020 events due to the pandemic. Those being Music on 3rd, and that's a series that happens monthly from June to September. So all 4 of those events were canceled. We did have to unfortunately cancel our 20th annual Blueberry Festival, which normally would have taken place on July 31st. I did want to note here, we felt as though we wanted to still acknowledge what would have been Blueberry Festival, especially being that it would have been our 20th anniversary of that event. And so we did what we called the Blueberry Quest, which was just a simple kind of pop-up promotion where we painted some rocks, made them look like blueberries, put a message on the back saying, if you found this blueberry, go to our website, claim your prize. We purchased gift cards from downtown businesses, then to correspond to each of those blueberry rocks. And that event ended up being really positive, really fun. We gotten excellent feedback on it. In fact, on the left, you'll see that image of the Downtown Digest. And what that is it's a national email newsletter publication that really covers downtowns from across the country. And I had gotten an email with their latest edition. This was back in September, as you'll see there. And I glanced at it to see, well, annual festival transformed. I know we've had to make some adaptations. So what are other communities doing? And was surprised as I opened up that article to see that it was about us and our Blueberry Quest. And so I just thought that was really neat that even though something that seemed small, especially in comparison to what our normal event would have been, still garnered that national attention. Getting back to our cancellations, we also had to cancel our Classic Cars on 3rd Street event. That would have been August 15th. And then our downtown trick-or-treating, we didn't necessarily cancel it outright, but didn't promote it as a DDA sponsored event and just left it up to the individual businesses to offer up candy as they felt comfortable doing. So with that said, we did have some cancellations, but we made those modifications I mentioned earlier and tried a few new things for this year, changed some of our other events to make them COVID compliant. And I think we've had some success in doing that. We did launch a new website. If you haven't checked it out, the website address is down at the bottom of the screen, the downtownmarquette.org, as well as a photo of the homepage. We continue our monthly Building Blocks newsletter. That's a monthly newsletter that goes out to not only all of the businesses downtown, the property owners, but we also have a good number of community members who have signed up by our website to get our monthly newsletter. And so that's a good way to communicate with the community as far as what we have going on. Another thing that we did this year in conjunction with WMQT Q107 is we partnered on a History Minute series. And if you haven't heard that, there's really cool, informative, just like 60 seconds on the radio, where it's kind of bookended by a message from us here at the DDA, shop downtown, or we change those out periodically as we have different events coming up. And then within that bookend is a very informative educational piece by Jim Koski, who is a wealth of historical information. And it just shares some history of downtown Marquette and does it in a very positive way. We're very pleased to be partnering with WMQT on this. We've done one 13-week stint and then have signed up for another 13 weeks. So we look for those to continue in the weeks ahead. We partnered with the Masonic Arts Theater and Innovation Company on an outdoor drive-in movie in the upper level of the Bluff Street ramp. Again, trying to provide that COVID-safe family activity. And local Fall Harvest Restaurant Week was something new that we tried this year. We do our traditional restaurant week in March. However, we've had some requests from the restaurants to do a fall version as well. And we thought, let's show these restaurants some support. Implemented this event. I believe we had 11 restaurants who participated in it. Very glad we did that, as it was just shortly after that some of these restrictions came in place. So happy to have provided that support while we were able. Ladies' Night was turned into Ladies' Week out, November 15th to 21st. We didn't do the passports like we traditionally do. Instead, we did some social media promotions and giveaways, and really just provided encouragement for people to shop downtown during that week. And then the businesses did things inside of their individual businesses as far as promotions and giveaways. And the holidays. I'm so excited about the holidays downtown this year because we have a lot of great things going on. I'm sure you guys have seen how great downtown looks with the lights, not only on the trees, but the businesses and buildings downtown as well. Part of that is due to our Light Up Downtown Marquette holiday decorating contest, which we have going on right now. We have 21 participants, and we do have voting available on our website. We're asking the community to place their vote for their favorite. We have a number of different categories, and then overall favorite will receive $1,000 in advertising from TV6, and that's courtesy of the DDA and TV6. We're splitting that cost to provide that grand prize. So if you haven't yet, go on the website and place your vote. We launched the decorating contest last week, December 3rd. And also in conjunction that evening, we had our drive-through visits with Santa at the Marquette Commons. You'll see the picture there in the upper left. Santa and friends were there to wave to the kids. It was a drive-through event. So vehicles pulled in off of 3rd Street. We had the post office there collecting letters to Santa. We had the fire truck. We had a police car. We had a city snowplow that was really decked out for the holidays. And it was a very fun and heartwarming event to be able to provide to the community during these times. Of course, it's very different from our traditional holiday festivities, but I feel like it was more than adequate as a substitute to spread that holiday cheer. We were also joined, if you look down below in the lower left collection of photos, by Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Hill, who were also there waving to the kids and helping to spread that holiday cheer. So we're very thankful to have them be part of that event as well. We also have a downtown holiday gift guide available right now. We have 26 different businesses highlighted in that gift guide. We've asked the businesses to provide some information as far as what they have available, and then have done it up with that information with a photo and a link to how people can make that purchase. We're also working with TV6 on group holiday commercials. That's something we've done for a number of years now. We have 18 participating businesses, and what that looks like, if you haven't seen them, it's kind of similar format to our WMQT History Minute, in that it's a 60-second commercial where we have our shop downtown at the beginning and the end, and then each of 3 businesses are highlighted for 15 seconds. And so we have a whole series of those commercials that are playing now and will continue to play through the holidays. We also have some commercials running through WJMN at this time as well. We partnered with the Lake Superior Community Partnership to provide a holiday shopping webinar for the downtown businesses, and that was to identify what customer shopping behaviors should look like or are expected to look like for this holiday season, and how they could adapt accordingly to capture those sales and to do so safely. Something that we started just this week, which has turned out to be really fun, is our Downtown Dining Challenge. And what that is a Facebook social media promotion, just encouraging folks to get takeout from one of our downtown restaurants, to take a picture of their delicious meal, post it on social media, and tag 2 of their friends, challenging them to do that as well. Tara, our promotions and events coordinator, started that on Tuesday and had tagged me in the challenge. So my family and I did get stuccos, and then I tagged our board member, Jeremy Ottaway, who also has supported Third Street Bagel and has challenged actually Mayor Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Hill to do the same. So I've seen a lot of activity around that, and look for that to hopefully continue and to grow. It was captured by Lake Superior Magazine and given a mention by them as well last night. So you just never know. I mean, something that seems like, let's just try it and see, could end up having a great impact. And those are the things that we're trying to do right now, is just be as creative as we can and see what comes of it. Also, I do want to mention that we're offering our free after 3 p.m. complimentary downtown parking, again, as we have for a number of years, trying to ease any burden that people may feel coming downtown to pay the meters. They're welcome to come and not have to pay after 3. And speaking of parking, here's a look at our parking management and maintenance practices. Just to briefly go over our parking facilities and supply, we have 7 parking lots that we manage. In addition to the Bluff Street ramp, Farragut Avenue lot, Commons, Lakeshore, North Main Street, South Main Street, the Spring Street lot, and the Rock Street lot. We have 506 on-street parking spaces downtown and 110 up on 3rd Street, for total public parking spaces of 1,380. Along with that, we have 350 parking meters that we manage and maintain, 3 pay stations, and 1 pay station trial underway as we're looking to replace those pay stations in the coming year or so. And a couple of years, we're looking at a different option, a different company to work with. And so we're doing a 45-day trial right now in the North Main Street parking lot with one of their units. We also have a dual port electric vehicle charging station in the lower level of the Bluff Street ramp. 2020 parking highlights. We have really taken on some big initiatives this year with parking. We've updated our 2012 parking study as part of our downtown plan, and worked with Nelson Nygaard to basically assess what we've implemented from that 2012 parking study and how those changes have impacted our parking system, and how we should evaluate and maybe modify some of our parking management strategies in regard to that. We've implemented our digital permitting, which is a big thing. It's a big step forward, considering for decades now we've used the physical hang tag, manual invoicing program. And what this digital permitting does is moves that all online. So we do have a link on our website, and you can see that in the lower right in that photo, where people can just go on our website, create their account, purchase their permit, enter their payment information, and everything is done digitally. There's no longer a need for those physical permits because all that information is held in the back end system that then is tied to the parking enforcement system. And so it's all just, it's done without that physical component, which is definitely a change. We have worked very hard, in particular, Sarah Tremblay, who manages our parking, has worked very hard to get this implementation rolling, not only with the build out of the platform itself, but also the transition and onboarding of all of our customers, offering very personal service. She's on the phone daily with people, just making sure that they understand the system and are making that transition as smooth as possible. We have also implemented our Passport mobile pay app, and that allows people to pay for the parking meters directly from their phones. So really, you wouldn't even have to get out of your vehicle. You could just go onto the app, punch in your information and go. You can also add time from your phone. So there's no need to run back out and put more money in the meter. So definitely adds to the convenience of parking downtown. And some people might wonder what our parking revenues are used for. And I think this is a very important educational piece for people to know that 100% of our revenues, and those come from the rental permits, the parking meters, pay stations, and from the electric vehicle charging station, but 100% of those revenues are reinvested into the downtown parking system. And they pay for things such as the snow removal contract, which is approximately $47,000 annually, for maintenance and repairs of the Fluff Street ramp. As the board members know, we're looking at a major capital improvement project, doing some improvements to the upper level of the ramp this spring and summer. Could be a very costly endeavor. We use those funds for maintenance of the elevators, the stair towers, the pedestrian connectors, for parking lot repair and maintenance, for the electrical, the lighting, and other safety measures, for the repair and replacement of the parking meters and pay stations, which we will be really having to take a hard look at that in the coming year. Also for line painting of the streets downtown, as well as the parking lots, and then the sidewalk clearing. We are reliant upon those parking revenues to be able to provide those services and to provide a safe and efficient parking environment for all of our users. And the farmers market. The farmers market has really taken on a life of its own this year, partially out of necessity in adapting to COVID-19. We hired a new farmers market manager, Sarah Johnson, back in February, and she had a lot to take on right off the bat, but she has really risen to the occasion. She immediately created a new website. She's a whiz at social media and really enhancing that social media presence on Instagram, Facebook, everything else. She's updated our systems for greater efficiency, putting a lot of our former kind of paperwork online. Most impressively, I think, was the implementation of our online marketplace in response to COVID-19. Back in the spring, things were very uncertain, but we wanted to be able to move forward in offering a market to the community as well as to the vendors who are reliant upon the market for some of their revenues. And so we did partner with Local Food Marketplace to create this online market. And how that works is customers can go online, they place their order between Sunday and Wednesday, and then those orders are delivered by the vendors to the commons on Saturday, where the customers come and pick up their orders. We ran that program through May and June, and then beginning July 4th through the end of October, we did transition back to a modified physical market that was limited in the number of vendors. We had 33 vendors participating, where normally we have about 70, but we really wanted to keep it to those essential vendors who provided basically food and other type products. Let's see, then in November and December, we ended up going back to that online marketplace. Again, because typically that's what we call our late fall market, where because of the changing weather conditions, traditionally our market would kind of shrink down to a fewer number of vendors who would go inside the building. Well, that's not possible right now with COVID restrictions. And so we did transition back to that online marketplace. We have this coming Saturday and then one more Saturday that we'll be offering this ordering. And then December 19th will be the end of our market season. We will look to convene our farmers market committee after that point to review this year and take a look at how we want to move forward for next year. And if we want to continue to incorporate that online marketplace in kind of a hybrid online physical market. So more conversation to come with that. I should mention as well, because this is a pretty impressive stat, that this market season, we've seen a 50% increase in our food assistance program redemption rates. You'll see on the lower right corner here of this slide, these are all of the food assistance programs that we participate in to help make food accessible to everybody. And thanks to the SNAP EBT and the Double Up Food Bucks programs, they both expanded their funding in response to COVID to make even more food available. So we've seen some great increases in that regard. And maintenance. Hopefully by now you've all seen the sign at the intersection of 3rd and Fair Avenue. That is the first of one of our entryway signs that we plan to implement. What's really cool about this particular sign and moving forward is that it was completely constructed in-house by our own maintenance staff. And I think they did a tremendous job. And I know they're very excited to move forward with the additional entryway signage that we have planned for this coming year. One at the entrance to downtown at 7th Street and the other one at the Rock Street entrance. As well as working on the signage, we have this whole list here of other activities that our maintenance staff takes care of for us. The summer landscaping and lawn care, winter plowing and shoveling, sweeping, trash removal, watering of flowers, installation of flags and other seasonal decorations, the hanging of the holiday greens, holiday lights, the maintenance of the Marquette Commons. They're always there to help us out with event setup, a farmer's market setup, a tear down. They take care of our parking lots, our pay stations, meters. They do the collections of the meters and pay stations. They maintain our pedestrian connectors that are listed there. And also implementation of special projects. They are always more than willing to jump in with whatever ideas we come up with. It's always funny when Jay comes into the office and we say, Jay, we've had an idea. And he's great about saying, you know what, we can do it. We'll figure out how to do it. Don't worry. So they're very agreeable in that regard. And for that, I'm very thankful. One thing that we've taken on this year with the city arborist is replacement of our street trees. I was notified by the city arborist that a number of our trees downtown had been infected with the emerald ash borer and would have to be removed, unfortunately. And so between the two of us, we came up with a replacement plan. We did in the spring replace 12 trees, which the DDA paid for. And then in the fall, we were able to do 12 more, which the city paid for. And then we do look to replace 12 additional trees in the spring of 2021. And the City of Marquette downtown plan. I left this one to the end because not only does it wrap up our 2020 efforts, but also sets the stage for 2021. There's a lot of information here on this one slide. It's 149 pages of planning and great ideas and suggestions, and it's a lot to condense into one slide. So I just kind of highlighted here some of their primary recommendations and findings. They focused on improvements to the public realm, being streetscape design and enhancements, and also site-specific recommendations. They have some very creative concepts for re-imaging the Marquette Commons, for creating a civic street on West Main Street, kind of a festival street, for revamping, humanizing Farragut Avenue. We're looking at 3rd Street improvements and looking to enhance the cohesion with core downtown, and to also improve the connectivity to the lake shore. It also had a pretty extensive section, as I mentioned earlier, on parking and transportation, where again, it identified some parking management strategies and recommendations moving forward. There's definitely, from our stakeholder sessions, an interest and a need for improved public transit and mobility. Also enhancements to our bike network systems and non-motorized access. Those also proved to be very much of interest to the community members who participated in those focus group sessions. The plan identified some public policy recommendations as far as affordable housing, business attraction, 3rd Street investment, and a funding mechanism, which we've talked about here at the board level. And that's looking like a potential expansion of our 5th district, and then street management and design. Finally, I ended with a thorough action plan implementation chapter that prioritizes our projects and identifies opportunities for collaboration moving forward. So taking that all into account, what does 2021 and beyond look like for us? To me, it looks like plans, progress, and positivity. We have a lot on our plate, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to make some improvements and turn the corner and start fresh in 2021. Of course, we will continue to support our downtown businesses through the pandemic response and recovery. We have 2 important capital improvement projects scheduled for spring and summer of 2021, one being the 100 block of West Washington Street, and the other, those Bluff Street ramp repairs I mentioned earlier. We will continue to work on our signage initiatives, again, installing those 2 additional gateway signs. We hope to update our identity signage with the current logo. In the lower left, you'll see the signage that we have right now at the entrance to all of our parking lots and public spaces. Those need to be updated with the logo and given a facelift. So we look to do that, again, with the help of our maintenance staff. We also will work toward a wayfinding signage program and to install banners throughout core downtown. We did put the banners up on 3rd Street, as you'll see in the upper left, and we look to do something similar for downtown for this summer. We, again, will work to identify development opportunities for North 3rd Street and explore those funding options, and then to explore the modifications to the Commons facility. Those stakeholder sessions indicated that people would like to see additional green space down there, and also to make it more suitable for the farmers market. We will look to pursue a market study to identify and pursue potential funding sources for public improvement projects and private-public partnerships, to continue to plan for West Farragut Avenue redesign as we're able. We will, of course, continue to assist property owners in seeking those grant opportunities to make their property improvements. And then as far as parking and transit, we will explore those options for the parking structure, partner to enhance the public transit system. Again, look to replace the meters and pay stations. This year we'll be striping our on-street spaces in our parking lots, fine-tuning that digital permitting program, implementing target pricing for meters and pay stations, eliminating the 2-hour complimentary parking lot parking, and also allow for overnight parking in the Fluff Street ramp.
Hey, Becky, before you go,
Oh,
the lower left corner, the commons lot there, that you see that first meter that's right against the wall?
yeah, is that the one that didn't work for you?
It's still not working.
Okay.
I used
Is
it. I used it again the other day.
Yeah, you know, the problem that we have there, particularly against the wall, Mike, is that they don't get the solar power that they need because
Okay,
that wall is there.
all right.
So, yeah, so we struggle with that particular area, which again, you know, if we're to take those meters out and put a pay station in instead would eliminate that problem. So
Okay.
that's something that we have to take into consideration as we look to do that replacement plan.
Well, I wanted to give you the 50 cents for the parking, but I just, you know, I couldn't do it.
Next time you see me, you can give me that 50 cents and we'll put it in the parking fund.
All right,
Fair enough?
sounds good.
Okay, and I just wanted to end by wishing you all a happy holidays from our DDA staff. This was a picture that we took. We had a staff lunch at the Commons and took this picture and had it made into a puzzle that we gave to one of our maintenance staff who has been out, not able to be with us for some time. So we just wanted to let him know that we were missing him.
It's a nice idea.
And that's it. So with that, I will
Thanks,
open it up
Rebecca,
if
for
you have
that.
any questions.
Yeah, thanks for the informative and detailed report. That's great. Good information in there. And I assume there is questions. So anybody with a question, feel free.
I had one and then I lost it. I don't remember. It must not have been important.
I think, I don't have a question, I just comment that it was great work putting that together. That was very informative and something I don't recall seeing before. So in my time on the DDA board, so excellent work.
Thank you, Jack.
Rebecca, there was a early slide that mentioned 298 business. And then you also had a slide with businesses that are no longer here and some that moved in. The 298 number, was that pre-pandemic or is that pretty current?
That was, I would have to look, it was provided in the demographic information by the plan consultants. So I'd have to go back and look at the specific time frame from when they got that information.
Okay, it's not that important because we see that we're gaining some businesses and losing some. It's just very sad for the ones that we're losing. So,
Yes, absolutely.
any other questions or comments before we move into old business? I hear none. I see none. Bylaw amendments under old business and the 2021 schedule. Thanks for including that.
You're
So,
welcome.
do you want to do a little background on the bylaw amendment, Rebecca?
Sure. When we initially talked, I believe it was in October, about our meeting schedule moving forward, it was suggested that we move our start time to 8 a.m. rather than 7:30 a.m. And that ended up being necessary to modify our bylaws because our bylaws did state a 7:30 start time. And so that's kind of how the bylaws came into it, was just because we needed to make that official update. And then in looking at the bylaws, there were a couple of other things that I wanted to make adjustments to. One, just to update our organizational structure. And then the other one to update our order of agenda to reflect our practices. So it just moved a couple of items around, but kept everything on there, just a different order during our meetings. And so at our last meeting, we had reviewed those changes. And now this is our second reading, and I'm looking for a motion to approve these bylaw amendments.
So motion is in order to approve the bylaw amendments and the 2021 schedule. So if anybody's interested in making that motion, and if I'm correct on this, I think with a bylaw change, we have to do a roll call vote. So is there a motion?
So move, Jack.
Second.
Motion and support to approve the amended bylaws and the 2021 schedule. Rebecca, you can see everybody, I can assume. So if you could go around and ask for the vote in order how you see people on the screen.
City Manager,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Nicole,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
and Tony.
Yes. So the motion passes. 2021 schedules in the book, so to speak. I believe it would be in order right now to let everybody know that isn't January, Rebecca, if I'm not mistaken, our reorganizational meeting as well.
It is, yes.
So we have to think about the committees that you're serving on and the ones that you would like possibly to serve on, especially for newer board members. Take a look at where we are in the committees that are the standing committees that are out there. We need some help on them. Parking's going to be busy this year, so we really need some good support on that one and others as well. So then some of them ebb and flow as far as how they're busy. I think there was one when we were going through the grant process for the facade grants. Some committees were busier than others. So please keep that in mind, and hopefully we can get our reorganizational meeting out of the way in January. I will tell you, I'm willing to step aside as chair. I think somebody else should take it, just so I can say that here. Hopefully somebody will start thinking about that before our next meeting. Anything else on that?
I would just add, make sure that you make that change in your schedules for the 8 a.m. start for our January meeting as opposed to 7:30.
Okay, great. We're under new business now, and it's the Land Development Code proposed amendment for building heights in CBD, whatever. Well, I don't know what CBD stands for. There's still.
The Central Business District.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's the zoning district that comprises most of core downtown, except for Front Street to the lake shore. That's the lakefront.
Okay.
So the
So you
Planning
wanna-
Commission.
Go ahead.
The Planning Commission has been working on amendments to the Land Development Code, and there are two that really would affect downtown. One is they're looking to increase the maximum building height from 60 feet to 74 feet. So looking to increase by that 14-foot increment. The Planning Commission has, it's my understanding, they have approved the amendment recommendations and that it should be going before the City Commission in January. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, they're scheduling the public hearing on Monday, so I think it'll be the first meeting in January, probably.
Okay. So I was contacted by Dave Stensis, and he said that in their conversations about increasing that maximum building height, that they are interested in scheduling a work session with the DDA to ask for our input, not necessarily on that increment that I believe is set to go pending City Commission approval. But he said, moving forward, there are some members of the Planning Commission who would like to consider some sort of prerequisites to that expanded height that would require a residential component. And at this point, he said they're not exactly sure what that would look like, if it would potentially be some kind of a density bonus or other requirement. Basically, they're trying to encourage that residential downtown. And so we have some time with this, because obviously they probably won't be looking at additional amendments for quite some time, but they would like to kind of start that conversation of what those requirements, if any, might look like, if that makes sense. So it's just initial conversation as far as what we as a DDA board might want to recommend in that regard. I don't know, Jeremy, I know that you're on the zoning board of appeals. If you have any experience with building heights or anything to add.
So yeah, I mean, I can tell you since I've been on the BZA, we have probably received half dozen height variance requests. Most notably, a couple recently in the CBD. One of them is the property that is right behind Joe's Gym, owned by Viridia Group, and basically that's been something that's probably slowed them down as far as getting going on their project, because we actually turned down a variance request from them for a height variance request. I definitely think it's something the city needs to address, and I think it makes a lot of sense for there to be some sort of residential notation in that, because if we're building buildings above 60 feet at this point, we want to make sure that they're for a good reason. This is something in the LDC that they kind of, I don't think it was missed, but it's something that, they had their chance already to kind of review this and didn't change it to above 60 feet prior. So I do want to, make sure that if we're doing that and we're able to be a part of those conversations, we should make sure that we really understand what the need is for having a building over 60 feet and make sure that it makes the most sense.
Do you know where this is coming from now? Do you feel, or does anyone know or think that it's because it was missed originally, or is it because they're getting pushback from, say, the Viridia Group or other projects that have applied for those variances and got denied? So they're looking for a way to change the code so that they can start moving forward?
I can tell you that I'm not aware of any pushback. It was kind of a surprise to me that it was being considered at the LDC. We've been systematically going through the land development code. I mean, the land development code was redid 2 years ago, and it's was it 800 pages or some damn thing? I mean, it was ridiculous. And a lot of things got missed. And we've been going through it, or the planning commission has been going through it like at 3-month intervals, finding areas that they think need to be changed or amended that they more or less missed. And I'm not aware of Viridia or anybody not through me anyway, approaching the planning commission for this change. I'm assuming it's something that, maybe, from Jeremy's point of view or from the staff over there, they're probably tired of dealing with the appeals or the applications and just trying to make a nice change that will probably work for everybody. And I would guess there's probably a few on the commission that are in favor of this as well. So, but there's nothing that I'm aware of that's being pushed other than it's probably was missed the first time around.
Gotcha.
Mike, if I can jump into, I will say, I think, if we're given the opportunity to talk with the planning commission, it makes a lot of sense, because the public, especially even our residents that live in the DDA, they're likely not going to be in favor of having buildings above 60 feet. If you think about the history of Marquette and building properties along the lakeshore, and, just the contention of having condos near the lake and people complaining about losing that view, there's a reason that has always been 60 feet. But if we, are able to partner with the planning commission and say, well, there's a reason we're going above 60 feet now as Marquette's growing, we need more affordable housing, things like that come into play. I think it has, it makes sense to make it above 60 feet at this point with the size of our city. But at the same point, I don't know how it's going to look from a public standpoint. And that's something I think that we can help shape for sure.
I have no problem with that kind of input from the DDA. Like I said, it was kind of a surprise to me that it was even something that was being considered by the planning commission. Because I think they'd probably knowing the planning commission and the makeup of the planning commission, I think they probably side with what you described, Jeremy, as not wanting views blocked and things of that nature. But there's something going on at that level that is causing them to think differently. So I don't know what that is. So if can't help you with that. It's not me. It's all I know.
Well, and just to clarify too, the central business district is west of Front Street, where Front Street to the lakeshore is a separate zone. That's a waterfront form-based code. So this would not affect building heights along the waterfront.
So Rebecca, this is just information for us that there could be a future work session. Is that what the reasoning is?
Well, it is information for us in a point of discussion. The work session has already been scheduled, and it is next Tuesday, the 15th at 6 p.m. I do have a Zoom link. If any of you are interested in participating, please do. I'm happy to forward that to you. I think it's important since they're reaching out to us, looking for our feedback, that we do join in that conversation, as Jeremy mentioned.
What was the times again on that, on next Tuesday?
The meeting starts at 6 p.m. And Dave said they typically do the work session toward the end of their meeting.
Okay. So the work session is not necessarily with the DDA. We're not requested to be there, but we can be, so we'd be members of the public at the work session. Excuse me.
I believe that we could be part of the conversation. They asked that I be there at least to.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank as to represent. I couldn't think of the word. To represent the DDA, but I would certainly welcome any of you in joining me as well, because I think the more we have in that conversation, the more productive it will be.
If you haven't already done it, please send out the link. I'm sure that some of our board members would be interested. I know I would be.
Okay. Yes, I will do that
I can
today.
be there too.
Is there more on that item to discuss, or are we ready to move on?
We can move on.
All right. We'll move on to committee reports.
Okay, so we have not met with our subcommittee since our last DDA board meeting, so I will just provide some general updates on the farmers market and on parking. The farmers market, I did mention during my presentation that our season wraps up on December 19th, so we will be looking probably sometime in January to schedule a subcommittee meeting, again, to review what this season looked like, how it played out with all of our changes, and to take a look at next season and how we might want to adapt, again, with that online marketplace. So just those of you who are or will be joining the Farmers Market Committee in January, just a heads up that we will be looking to convene that committee. And then as far as parking, I just wanted to touch base again on this trial pay station. Tom Neff with Traffic and Safety came up the middle of November and installed a Luke 2 pay station in the North Main Street lot. The unit itself is very high quality. It's very sturdy. It's very user friendly. The interface is pretty simple, easy to follow. I think it's a definite improvement over the pay stations that we currently have. The back end system is pretty slick. I mean, it's very intuitive. We found it to be something that we would definitely like to work with moving forward, especially as compared to some of the other systems we work with for the existing meters and pay stations. This trial will last for about 45 days, so roughly through the end of the year, at which point then we have the option to purchase that unit for it'd be roughly $10,000, which is pretty typical for a pay station. I also wanted to mention, we do have to really start looking at how we want to replace our parking meters, because we were notified by IPS Group that the broadband that they currently operate with will be obsolete soon as we're moving to 5G. I believe these are 3G. They have a contract in place with Verizon to continue operating through the end of 2022, at which point then our meters will basically be obsolete. So by then we do have to have new meters in place. So parking committee will be tackling that in the months ahead.
Rebecca, question, a while back, I'm sorry, but a while back, our board, if I'm not mistaken, voted to start replacing those meters incrementally. I know it was well, I don't think it was 2 years ago, but it was more than a year ago, I believe, that we made a motion to go forward with that, I think. So we might want to look in there and see what that was all about in our history.
Yes, I know that we do have a plan. We did not move forward with that for this year because of the pandemic and the impact on our parking system, and it just didn't seem like a good time to be doing that. However, moving forward into the next fiscal year, we are replacing those meters on the 100 block. When we do that project this spring, we'll be replacing those with the 4 pay stations. So that is kind of the start of this whole replacement plan cycle, but it will have to be expedited to hit that 2022 deadline. So we'll be having to make a pretty substantial capital investment in parking meters / pay stations.
I know we had some discussion on it, but with regarding the 100 block and putting in 4 pay stations rather than individual meters, was that something that we actually moved forward with through motion and support from the board, or is that just part of our parking plan that we adopted?
It was just part of our parking plan. It wasn't anything that has gone through formal board approval.
Okay. All right.
I think we wanted to wait until that construction was done in there too and do it at that time. Is that what we had discussed, Rebecca?
Right.
Other committee reports?
That's it. No other.
Any questions, concerns so far with any board members? If not, we'll move into director's report.
Okay, just a couple things that we haven't touched upon yet today. I did just want to share with you, as far as our downtown plan, that has been widely disseminated. So I have shared it with the board. Obviously, the city commission has seen it as well. I've shared it with all of our downtown business and property owners, all of our stakeholders who have participated in our focus group sessions, and also just a general PSA to the media. So I did talk to TV6 and the Mining Journal. And so everybody knows that it's out there. They've received copies of it, and it's available on our website as well. And just getting it on our website and disseminating it that way then kind of finalizes the requirement for the city's redevelopment ready certification. If you remember, that was part of that process, and one of the, I don't want to say the main reason, but that's really what prompted us to move forward with doing the plan at this time. And so it does fulfill that requirement for the city to get that certification through the MEDC, which will then open up additional services that they are able to provide for us as far as grant opportunities. So that's a big step forward for us and for the city. I will be presenting, I'm sorry?
I was just wondering if there was something else.
Yep, I'm just looking at my list here. I'll be presenting to the city commission on Monday as far as our annual presentation. Bob Doyle, who was our downtown plan consultant, will be with me as well. Not so much to delve into the plan itself, but just to answer any questions afterwards. To provide a staffing update, we have had one part-time maintenance position open for quite some time now. We have a very good candidate that we hope to have on board by the end of the week to fill that position. And as far as the Bluff Street ramp update, I've been in conversations with GEI. If you guys recall, they're going to do all of our construction documents for us for that repair project in the spring. So they'll be getting it ready to go out to bid for us. And so I talked with Josh from there as far as how we want to move forward with that project and a timeline for doing so. We would look to do the Washington Street reconstruction as soon as we can in the spring. And then the city engineer anticipates that project being done by mid-June, at which point then we would schedule the Bluff Street ramp repair project to start after that, because we certainly don't want both of those going on at the same time for our own sanity and for the parking impacts that both of those projects could have. And just as far as a board update, we're still looking for that board member resident position to be filled. So please, if you do know of anybody that you think would be a good fit for the board who lives downtown, please do let me know and I'm happy to reach out to them. And Jack, this I believe will be your last board meeting, correct?
I believe that's correct.
You don't have to leave, you know, you can stay until you're replaced. That's officially in the rules.
I thought Eric was my replacement.
Well, I guess if that's true, then yes, you can go. But if he's just another member and you just happen to make us meet our quota, then you have to stay.
Ah, I see.
Or you could just move into downtown Marquette. You know, you're here all the time anyway.
Okay.
You can live in that new apartment that's going to be out above the 60 feet limit
There you
of
go.
the Meridian meeting.
I was thinking it'd be
Anything
nice
else
to
on
put
it?
it right on top of this building.
Anything else on director's report, Rebecca?
That's all for today, Tony. Thank you.
Sean, anything for public comment that you're aware of? You're still muted, Sean, if you're trying to talk to us. He's probably left. He just got a blank screen there.
I heard him. His door's closed, and I heard voices in there.
I don't see anybody in the waiting room.
Okay, all right. We'll move in. I got a screen where I can see everybody now, so we can move into board member comment, and I'll start by going around. Mr. Angeli first. You're first.
Sure. Just one thing. Becky's already aware. I've let you know that I submitted a letter to retire effective May 31st of next year to the mayor. I promised I'd give him 6 months to find a new manager. And it'll be in the news. It'll be on the agenda Monday night. I just wanted you to be aware ahead of time. So for the next 5 DDA meetings, I just won't give a shit. So. You can go up on 80 feet. I don't care. But no, it's I've had, you know, I'm in my 45th year with the city. I'm getting to be an old man. My wife is getting needier all the time. She wants me to be her boy toy, you know, more than ever now. So
Yeah.
it's just time. So we'll see how that works out. If anybody's interested.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations.
Awesome. Jeremy, we'll move along on board member comments.
Yeah, I mean, first, I guess I'll say, Mike, it's about time.
Yeah, no
We've all
kidding.
been patiently waiting, but no, I'm very happy to have gotten to know you over the past few years. And I mean, I think Marquette's going to be losing somebody that's been more committed to this city than anyone. So I'm sad to see you go. You know, enough about Mike, obviously, now, because we'll get to see him for the next 6 months. But I'll say, Becky, great job today. Very informative, and I could tell you were well prepared for giving that. And I think, you know, it's awesome to typically in these informational meetings, we've kind of just like threw it underneath the rug and did it because we had to, but this one was actually really good. I can tell you when I was starting out as a board member on this board, I would have loved to have gotten that. This was the best one I've seen, and I look forward to you continuing to do these. For anyone that might come aboard, it's great. But also wanted to say, I don't know if it was Tara's idea for the downtown challenge for the food, but I wanted to give her props if it was, and encourage all of you guys to go onto the DDA Facebook or Instagram pages and just even copy and paste their post and challenge 2 people to do the challenge downtown. I think it's a great idea, and I think it helps our downtown businesses, and you can tag them as well, and they love it. So that's enough of me talking for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, Eric.
Just trying to take everything in and get caught up to speed here. Obviously a lot going on. So that was a very good presentation today to start to help with that. But just look forward to the next several months and kind of getting up to speed on everything with the board here. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for your commitment. Nicole?
Just to reiterate what Jeremy said with Mike, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and work with you over the past year as a board member, and to Jack as well. If you're leaving, and maybe if you're not. And Rebecca, really great job on that presentation. Even though it's hard to give those because it does seem long and you're reading a lot of information, but it was definitely engaging, and definitely learned a few things that I didn't already know from all of our meetings and stuff like that. And I also wanted to say welcome to Eric. And I also wanted to say how nice the new signage looks downtown. I've noticed I've been going on a lot of walks lately with the warmer weather and not working right now. And I think it has a really great unified look. You can see the logos. They're everywhere, so I don't know how anyone can miss them. So I think that the new signage looks really nice, and it shows that the board and Downtown Marquette really cares about what's going on and the support. And I think the restaurant challenge is a really great idea too, to keep supporting the businesses and stuff as we, come for a few more months through COVID-19 and all that, what's going on. So good job.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. Jim?
Well, Jack, I want to thank you for your service here. It's been great working with you.
Thank you.
And to welcome Eric and Megan. Looking forward to working with you a couple of years. And wish Mike well here. It's about time he's retired. He's been around a long time here, and no, he's done a great job.
Has anybody taken the time to notice the makeup of my commission? I mean, I got a couple that are still just out of diapers,
Yeah.
So,
That's kind of how I'm feeling too. More than you. And Rebecca, that was a great job too. And not just with that, but just with keeping everything going during this COVID, because I know just for us to keep things going at our business, how hard it is. So I'm sure it's been a difficult time for you as well. So thank all the staff that's been helping out with you.
I will, Jim. Thank you very much.
And, when you had a list of the businesses closing up there, it doesn't matter, but I guess I just want to make a note of this. The Viking Sewing Village in our block there closed. And she's been around there for a long time. And Superior Watershed moved in there instead. I don't know if you wanted to kind of do a little welcome to them. I know it's not really a business, but
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
yeah, welcome to the downtown. The sign on the corner looks great that they did. And, looking forward to this summer when they can start landscaping. I guess the biggest thing I'd like to see happen, we have a lot of things to do, but I think if we could put the TIF extension for 3rd Street like on an agenda item, moving along, because we're losing a lot of money right now just because of the money that's been invested the last couple of years with the programs and with valleys being remodeled. So we're kind of losing thousands, or I don't know how it would work, but hundreds of thousands if we just keep waiting. So the sooner the better we can get some more money for 3rd Street to start doing some of those needed improvements. And unfortunately, I heard that from a reliable source that the restaurants will be closed, restaurants and bars will be closed until January 11th. She's going to extend it until that point. So more weeks of not doing anything. So the restaurants appreciate what you're doing. You know, I can tell you that. I'm sure Nicole knows that as well. You know, it's been tough sleeping here past few months. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jim. Jack, we'll move into your member
I
comments.
just want to say it's been great serving with you. I think Tony, well, Jim, seems like you've been around as long as I have, and Rebecca, and then everybody else kind of joined afterwards, including Mike.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I remember going to the office down here on Front Street, and Vida was there with us.
Okay, all right.
So, but no, it's been good, and I'm really happy. The place where the DDA is right now, I think it's great to have Rebecca in that chair and running the DDA, and it's good to see some new board members here. And I know you guys are all in good hands, and I'm looking forward to watching what happens with those 70+ feet buildings in town. Hey, where else are you gonna go, man? You got to go up, man. The lake kind of blocks us in, so get some critical mass and bring additional businesses downtown. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're not interfering with some of those views close to the lake shore. So congrats, Mike and Jim. It's really good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you, and you're looking good. So I'm glad you recovered well, and that's all I got. Good luck. Carry on.
Thanks, Jack. Megan?
So I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not, but every time I join a board, Jack takes off. This has happened like 3 times now.
Sorry. I know, I was really looking forward to serving with you too.
Yeah, you say that every time. So there's that. And then I just wanted to copy what Nicole said. I really noticed the signs downtown too. They look really great. And I don't know if that was in the plan or if that was in response to the public comment from last time, but they are very noticeable and they look great with the branding. Even your presentation was clearly branded to with the signage from downtown. So it all just really comes together and looks really nice and professional. And other than that, I think that's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. A couple comments from me and we can close out. Rebecca, at one time we had something scheduled with, I think it was information on how MEDC works, and then also TIF. Jen from MEDC was going to, hold us to a little bit of a work session. I'd like to see that effort continue so that it's good information for us as board members that have been here for a while and new board members coming on. Mike, we're certainly gonna miss you. I know you have the heart of this city, or you have the city in your heart, so to speak. So we really appreciate it, and all you've done for the city too. Jack, thanks for your service to this board, and we know that you're going to be involved with other things around here, so we appreciate that. Well, and last, want to welcome new board member Eric and thank Rebecca for the detailed report. That was very good. So, and Rebecca, I think we've done in the past, welcome to downtown certificates for some of these newer businesses that have moved in. I'm not sure where that is with the schedule, but you had mentioned the 10 businesses, and I don't know if we hit every business with that or if they have to request it, but just a reminder about that as well.
Yes, we do reach out to all of them when we learn of their opening. We haven't done that in recent months with the COVID, but we'll be looking to schedule those presentations.
Sounds
I
good.
have
That's all
time to be in pictures now.
What's it called?
I said, I have time to be in pictures now.
Oh, great.
Good. Anything else to go before this board? I'll deem this meeting adjourned. Thank you, and thanks for your participation.
Thank
Great
you.
meeting, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.